feel like we gotta quit meeting like this. It's not even 3 o'clock in the morning. And so, of course, I gotta give it's like my excuses or my breakdown on why I'm up so early. It was just weird because I was sleeping, I was so uncomfortably. Like, I can't just go into like normal sleep or something. It's so weird. And all yesterday, especially last night, it felt like things kept touching me and touching me and touching me, messing with my hair. Oh my God, I was about to fucking lose my goddamn mind. And it was really, really getting to me. It wouldn't fucking stop. I'm trying to do everything. I'm trying to like raise my vibration and get out of the fucking whatever the fuck is going on. And it's just this chaotic energy again. Everything heats up. It's like they fucking, I swear to God, they're fucking doing something about, but I don't know if it's just because when the sun gets to this certain part, it just heats up over here by me or something. I don't fucking know. I'm so fucking sick of trying to figure this shit out. And I'm really going to cuss a lot, obviously, today. But so I could never sleep good at all. And, hold on. So I was, like tossing and turning, and I'm always got this awareness. It's weird because I will have this awareness. I start having this like early in my awakening. I started realizing like I had the awareness of the room, even if I was laying in bed asleep. But that doesn't mean the whole time I do, because there's lots of times when it's got to be the certain brain waves, you know, or certain ones that I reach and I'm gone. I don't even think I'm in my body at all. I think I'm just gone. And I was thinking the other day how strange it is how, you know, parents go around and go in and look at their little angels. And it's always like kids while they're sleeping, they look like little angels. And they, you know, and then when you realize, well, they're not even in there. They're not even in there. It's just an empty vessel. I'm just looking at this little empty vessel. It's just kind of creepy. But it's weird. There's so, my brain is going way too fast, way too full. There's way too much. So the, it's just going to be everywhere. Because so at it was like 1:45 or something, Stella got up and she started crying. And so I was like, okay, I'll get up. And but I had to go pee. But she was like, go into the door. So I was like, oh, so she's got to go potty or something. And we're going to drink. I don't know why she refuses to drink the water in the house. It was just because it's too lukewarm or something. And she really likes cold, cold water. But I put ice in it and stuff, and she still is just like, and I've got the good water. Fucking shit-ass water outside. She just always wants a shit-ass water. She wants to drink out of the fucking lakes and rivers, and I just keep thinking, okay, she's an animal. She's an animal. I gotta fucking let her be an animal. It's not my fucking duty to tell her what she is. And so I've got so many thoughts on that. There's so much shit going on. So much animal shit. There's so much. So fucking much. It's all like people. It's like the dismissive behavior of life itself is what's coming to the surface. It's fucking how dismissive people have been. How much they just don't respect fucking other life forms, other living beings. It's like, I just gotta always go back to whatever this manipulation is cut off from themselves. But anyways, so 1:45 when I got up, I took her out there and then I was like, fuck, it's only 1:45. Okay, this is way too much. I'm gonna have to lay back down. And because I had already put a dress back on, which I'm really running out. Like I got all my clothes packed. Like not all my clothes, but the ones that I wear the most, I guess. You know what I'm saying. Fuck. And anyways, I'm gonna have to unpack all my. I'm not gonna unpack. I'm just gonna open my suitcase and start going. Because now I'm down. I only left out a few dresses. So anyways, let me think what I was going to say. So 1:45, she wants to go out. She was having a fit while I was going pee. So I was like, okay, she's probably got to go potty or something. But she probably is just thirsty because she's this panting thing. I don't know what's up. I just keep thinking, okay, if she's being microwaved, if she's really feeling it, because she's got the pounds on her. She's beefy. And so she gets way hotter. I am one of those people who's always cold. I don't have enough fat on me. And this is something, too, that I want to talk about. Because this is something that, man, I've got a lot. Fuck, hold on. This is one thing is, you know, because we all want to be judgmental of one another's bodies. We think, like, how somebody should look. And it seems to be like a social standard. If you're not willing to gain weight and be out of shape, then you are toxic, you're narcissistic, like all these bad things become associated with it. It's like, we have to, every single fucking one of us has to fucking acknowledge our own body type, our own body structure, all of that. Then we, our own selves, have to figure out what it's going to take to keep that body going. That's my whole thing. It's nobody else's thing. And each of us need to be out of every person's business. It doesn't fucking matter. Each thing is its own thing. It is a part of the thing. It's a part of each person's story, no matter which side of the story they're looking at. And so, you know, like, to me, is, you know, like, I don't have a very large frame. I don't have large bones or whatever. And, but then if you try and mind your body, because if I put on a bunch of weight, it's very uncomfortable. When I say I haven't gained a lot of weight in my life, it's because it's very uncomfortable. It is a lot, and it's super uncomfortable, and it is a lot more comfortable to not have it hanging off of, like, if you want to think of like smaller bones with more meat hanging off, it's very uncomfortable. And so, and I know there's a lot of smaller boned people who feel pressure, like there's such a distortion in our minds. And I just saw this young girl, and I completely knew exactly what she was saying, because I've talked about this before. We want to understand ourselves. We want to, even as ourselves, we want to see ourselves. We want to know, how do others see us? What do we look like? What size are we? What are we pretty? Are we not pretty? Like, we're constantly trying to figure ourselves out, and we're comparing ourselves. But no matter how much, we're always looking from the inside out. And we all want to get this look from the outside so that we see. We want to see from the outside. We want this other perspective, which is what we're giving our higher selves, our more advanced selves, because our more advanced selves, it's kind of like how it's shown to me. It's kind of like how I can sit here and I can go in my head and I can look. I can look in directions. I can look around. I can see. I can look in. It's like, I guess it's looking into the future, or future possibilities, future outcomes. Like, I don't know. You know, I mean, fuck. Usually when I see something, it ends up being what I see. So I don't know about the, I mean, even some things, when it takes a really long time, it's just like, I can just see ahead. I can perceive ahead. And to me, it is kind of like your soul has more feelers or something. You have, you know, like I said, when you have all of your experience, all your empathy from all your different experiences, it's like you've got all of these, like in your, like what I've talked about. Oh, fuck, this is a lot. like what I've talked about in the, like in your mind, how we have receptors. So it's kind of like the same thing. You create more receptors. So like throughout all your incarnations and whatnot, you are creating receptors for your soul, like this expansive thing of your conscious energy. You're expanding all the time. You can be small, but then how can you stay small if you are incarnating and experiencing all these different lives all the time that you're experiencing yourself? And so your higher self, like how I see it is like how we were projected into this game, into this reality. It's it's like the same thing. It's like my mind's eye, like it's weird because the visual stuff is weird, because it's like I can see me, but then I can see me go through my eyes, but the me I see is this me, but it's like a representation, because the actual me, the actual you, is free energy. I mean, not free energy. Let's keep that like your conscious energy. So you are a consciousness. You are an energy pack. You are a ghost. You're the energy. So, hold on. That's the thing too, is like we should have always been able to see the ghosts, the remnants, the soul, the energy, the real part of the self. It's the real thing that never dies. And it is constantly taking up form and experiencing itself in all these levels of frequency and density. And so it's kind of like the higher self projects itself through, but oh, that is trippy, because it is like where we think about like soul contracts and stuff, like you'd have to perceive this how you perceive it, because but when you talk about like soul contracts, it's almost like a mass meditation, like all our energies go into a story together. Like how I said, like it's written, it's already set. Everybody's already got their role. Everybody's already got their script. There's nothing, like you're on your script. Like you can't change. You think that whole illusion of thinking that you can change things in life is an illusion. It is not. It's about coming into peace. It is like a trust fall into your higher self, to trust the universe, that it's not there to hurt you, it's there to help you, and your part, you play such a huge part. You're not a victim in the universe, you are a player. And so you are playing, you are envisioning yourself, you're projecting yourself into a storyline, so you can witness yourself, just like that girl was saying. I want to understand myself. I want to see myself. See how our higher self, that's what it's doing. Our more advanced self is watching itself. Like it's watching me talk about, like it's so micro, macro. Everything is so micro, macro. But the, man, I just had that now. I've got all that rushing into my head. Fuck, I should have done one last night. Sometimes I get stuck, I swear. Especially lately. It's like, I'm telling you, just to go get my tea this morning and everything. It's like, oh, well, I could do that. I could do that. Well, you could do that. You could just pick up that lighter right there and light that. Oh, you could. You could. And just, it's like I'm stuck. Like I'm glitching. Like I can't get up and do something. It's weird. So I can sit here and having all of these, whatever, downloads, insights, whatever. You know, to me, it's just this constant conversation, and sometimes it's just like such like, oh, fuck, yeah, fuck, that's a good one. And then so much, like, there's just so much. And then, so there was some really cool stuff, micro, macro thing yesterday, but I can't remember. There's so many, and there's so many conversations that I have, and it's weird because people don't realize, like, when you say something that is like the universe saying something, it's like it's in the middle of a conversation. It's in the middle of something that I'm being explained to or something. So all these things link up. That's what I'm always talking about. You got to connect, because you don't see the links until you do. You don't see the fun part of the game until you get connected. It's like being a gamer and having the headset on and having somebody who's really advanced on your team. So, you know, you want to be in that connection because it changes the game. It just changes it so much. And, you know, I don't know why or how I've had some of these abilities or experiences. Like, I can't explain it. You know, I'm not ever going to go to a place where I'm like, I think I'm better than anybody and that everybody doesn't have the same abilities. I feel like I've just put more energy towards certain things that other people haven't put it towards. It's like when other people were chasing one thing, I was always in this space of another. You know, I've always been sitting back and watching and talking and asking and communicating and understanding, and they've always been bringing me information and stuff. So but you know, like, I've had that thing, like what that girl was saying, you know, I would love to be able to see myself. I just want to know, what do I look like? And I said that I had that happen that one day. Besides seeing my body, that was different because it was kind of in the dark. I was laying on the bed, and it was so much like, it was just the weirdest thing because I was up doing stuff. And, you know, I thought I was awake. Oh, yeah, I didn't even finish that because I've got to finish that about the waking up. But I thought I was awake. And then I was, so when I looked back and I saw myself asleep on the bed, it was like, what? And that's what sucked me back in real quick. But it was a different, because when I had seen myself like with this, but I've also, you can do this. This is training your mind. You can focus your consciousness, get your focus up on a shelf or up in the corner of the room. And you start getting your view from the corner of the room. Like, I can see myself right now from the corner of the room. And it's like my consciousness is all split up. I'm like fractaled or something. I don't know what the fuck is going on. What the fuck? God, this is weird. So you can get out there and you can see yourself. But it takes, like, this is where I remember the shaman telling me about this, but when it happened to me, it was after I had woke up. I don't know around the whole, I always go back like 2016-ish, because a lot of changes happened in 2017 when I got my trigger. That was like a whole new, it was like, it's just this constantly going through another door. You don't know where it's going to lead, and they're telling you it's the trust fall, because they'll be telling you where you're going. It's like, are you sure about this? And they're like, yes, keep going. It's like, oh, okay. And so it's these constant maneuvers, this life path of yours, you know, the connection is important, and it takes you in, well, you're going to always go where you're going to go, but it makes a difference over what you're learning and what you're experiencing. So many people, it's about the learning. You can turn it into an experience by perspective. So, okay. But when I had mine, I was around and I was walking through a field, I remember, and it seemed like it was a music thing. seemed like there was, because there was people around, there was music, and it seemed like I was carrying something. I was walking through this field, and all of a sudden I was above me, watching me walk through the field. It wasn't like I was sitting there in meditation trying to do this or anything. It just popped out again. It's just like I'm just popping out all the time. And so I popped out and I'm watching myself walk. And that's where I was like, oh my gosh, I look smaller than I thought I would. I look like, it's weird. You just look different, you know. But see, our minds tell us something different. Like, there was, because I was so much taller than other girls, like I would buy extra large clothes. Like, I thought I'm huge. And so it's all like our minds mess with us. Like, I completely get what that girl was like, you know. I want to see myself how, like that, be able to go and look at myself and see myself for myself. What do I think? Do I think I'm pretty? Guaranteed your ass. Go listen to how many near-death experiencers, every motherfucking time they come out, they always look at their bodies and go, I look so much, how much better they thought they looked. They like how they look. They feel a warm sympathy. They feel an empathetic love. Like, it's very loving how you will see yourself. And when I saw myself, I wasn't letting go of my body. So I wasn't having that, it was just like I was walking through a field and I was outside of myself, watching myself. And I was like, whoa, this is weird. And then I was like, oh, but look at me. Man, I look like, whatever I thought, I can't remember. It just was like a different view. It was a different perspective. It was like, got me to see something I hadn't seen before. And, but on this body size thing, because, I think, you know, people all want us to all fit into how they are, you know, like when our general society decides that, you know, eating too much and being overweight is a healthy lifestyle, but you feel very uncomfortable if you gain weight. And so you have to, for your own mind, for your own body, for your own sake, you have to watch what you eat. You have to be aware. You can't just sit around and just eat junk. You have to pay attention, because if you don't and you start gaining a bunch of weight, all of a sudden you find yourself very uncomfortable. Your back hurting, your knees hurting, your shoulders hurting, you know, like just all this different stuff. And so it's like we have to give respect. It doesn't mean somebody is like anorexic or toxic or something because they have to pay attention or care about what they eat. And this sometimes when I say this stuff, it's completely can be something. I saw TikTok, somebody saying something. I saw, you know, but I have like big opinions, I guess you could say. But it's like lessons. It's like being taught lessons all the time. That's what I said. It's like I think I said a couple weeks ago, it's like your higher self is like that. Grasapa. This is how you know, that's how I feel like my days are spent with, who was that? Magasaki? I'm horrible with names. Horrible. And so, hold on. I shouldn't tell myself I'm horrible with names. But I am improving, no matter what. You know, I may still have deficits from this brain injury. But see, I'm not even going to look at it as deficits. It was just they blocked off pathways in my mind. And then I had to start developing other ones and let go of the ones that were blocked. Just like what is going on in our planet right now, what's happening. And it's so crazy how everything is the micro, macro like that. In that video that I had just shared, hold on. I know I'm skipping around, bug. Okay. I'll finish that real quick, because, so when I laid down, because she stayed out, she went out and she was getting a drink. I think she probably had to go poop too. Because she was not eating. She didn't eat for like a day and a half. but she had some really big cysts on her, and I was going with that idea with the guy talking about the fasting, because I do think her cyst things get a lot smaller when she fasts. So I don't try and get her to eat. She did, I did give her a few things, but she didn't eat like a whole big thing until like yesterday. She didn't eat all the day before, whatever. And so, but I gave her some more diatomaceous earth. So I'm sure, you know, making her clear out her system. So that may be why she wanted to get up and go out. I'm not sure. But anyways, she was, when she went out there, she was laying out there, and she won't come in. It's a lot cooler outside, and it's very windy, and it's a creepy kind of wind. Like this weird tropical, like sometimes, I don't know, it's weird. I don't know how to explain it. You'd have to be there to experience these different types of wind. It's like you can smell it, you can feel the dent. It's weird. Some of it feels like tropical. Some of it feels like it's coming from the ice. It's weird. It's different all the time. But this one's a weird one. And so, but they're blowing in this huge, like they've turned this Hillary, of course, like it's all going together. This hurricane. See, she's so uncomfortable. This hurricane. Stella, just come over here and lay down. The hurricane, of course we call it, but they've been beefing that thing up, so it's gonna hit Baja, which, you know, Mountain Dew said all these things, because dew and what it stands for, like the way they fuck around, these fuckers, like it's some fucking bullshit, man. Stella, no, I'm doing this. Come and lay down. Maybe she's gotta go potty. Oh, hold on. It's got drama. Hold on. I don't know. There's so many things to be uncomfortable about. Who fucking knows what it is? So, anyways, what was I gonna say? So when she was out there laying on the porch, I was like, well, fuck, I'm just gonna lay out here then. And so I laid down on the couch, and there still keeps being things or something. I don't know. Like yesterday, it wasn't just things flying and attacking me. It was like all on my face, crawling through my lashes and shit. And I can't see good. So it's like, is there even anything there? Or is this something how the CIA said they can do something with the frequency or something? They can do something to make us think there's things crawling on us. So I kept being like, what in the holy hell? Is that what is going on? Or is there anything? Like, it's so weird. Or is it these fucking microscopic neobot things that they're fucking bringing in on us and blowing in the wind and shit? So I don't fucking know. Something is harassing me. And I kept trying to raise my vibration or something. It's like, I don't know how the hell to get out of this shit. And especially like I'm a goddamn hologram. Why the fuck do I gotta feel this shit? And so I'm just trying to pull myself up out of it. But so I laid down, and then it was like I could hear something. I keep hearing things. There keeps being, or I keep feeling, am I merging in different realities? Like, is this all just like a merge? Am I in a space where there's a bunch of different, like a portal space? Like I've said for a long time, I've always felt like I was in a portal space, like a different frequency in my area. And I don't know. But so I was laying there, and it was so fucking horrible and annoying. I was like, okay, hell no, I can't do this. And so I just sat up, and I was like, fuck it. I'm just gonna fucking get up and just sit here and look at TikTok or something. So I started looking on that, and then I was seeing different videos, things. I saw the comments on the one thing that I had shared, the one short. I thought that was so cool how he explained it. But the problem is on TikTok is all these videos, like I said, I don't really know what the fuck. Like, I don't get why some of these people do it. If it's a part, like, if legit normal people go on TikTok, just go take everybody else's videos and make their whole platform everybody else's videos. I don't know. It's strange. And so, but you can never find a link back to the original poster. It's like, and then it's like, I don't know, are they from Instagram? Like, I don't know. I know it seems that because now I've seen more stuff where I was talking about that stuff that was so weird about The Rock, where he kept being live all the time. I kept seeing it's so weird because he's on TikTok live all the time in the morning, and he's sitting there drinking. And he makes a big deal about it, mixing his drinks while he's feeding his kids breakfast and shit. And I was like, this is the strangest thing. And but there's a weird thing on the lives, like if you try and click on it and stuff. And so I was like, this has got to be some kind of a fake thing. And so then I just saw a video where somebody was talking about that there's some sort of a fake thing somebody is doing about The Rock or something. I'm taking stuff off Instagram Live or something. So I don't know, they go in and film like somebody live, and so they, you know, I have no idea. I don't follow The Rock. I think he's a sellout. I used to like him a long time ago, but now, and then plus when you just see all this footage where he just participates in the you know, making robots that like kids and stuff. It's like, dude, you know what the hell's going on. That's not funny. Like, how much do they got to pay you to say shit like that, you know? Or your family being held hostage. Like, I can't be judgmental. I don't know his life, but I don't have to be like, oh yeah, I don't really like him. I don't have to not like him or like him. I'm just in the middle. I'm just like, I'm not, you know, it's like, whatever, dude. Like, there's a bunch of people I feel like that, like people who I used to like, Jennifer Aniston, now, and I'm seeing her get thrown to the wolves. This is all, like, everybody's shit is going to play out the way it's going to play out. If you've been putting out certain energy, that energy is going to come back on you. And so, you know, we're going to watch it play out. We're going to know whose energy is what, because it's going to come back on them. So, won't be any guessing. The universe will make it clear. So, but anyways, so The Rock be having dinner, babysitting with his kids and having his deep talk, because he likes to have these deep talks about what he thinks about life or whatever, you know, kind of like what I'm doing. But yeah, I don't know if he's just makes fun of it, like he's an alcoholic, or maybe he just drinks so much because he's so huge. I don't know why he makes such a thing about his drinking. To me, it just is like, ooh, it's so cringy because of my dad, rattling the rocks, the drink. I don't know. It's just cringy to me. But so they can go on and watch his live and just be downloading it. They've got so many schemes and scams. And so then they go and then they make it like it's his account and put it on TikTok and make it like it's him. So then people go in and say things, and it's weird. Oh, because so on Instagram Live, so they can be sitting there talking to people. Oh yeah. Whenever you're talking, you know, everybody's got handles up, so you're not saying, oh, Bob, Sue, Jane, or whatever. It's like you're saying different handles, like Miss Sunshine State. Oh yeah, Mr. Tuxedo Royal. You know, you're saying stuff like that. So it's saying, yeah, hi, yeah, and all those things. So then when they go and put it on live on TikTok, you're not going and looking. Sometimes their names are going too fast. You can't tell who he's talking to. And so they think he's talking to, he's live on their thing, but he's not. He's live on Instagram 2 days ago. And but these thief people who take the stuff, so then they go make this account, pretend like it's him, go live with these weird video things. And people go in thinking, you know, his fans go in and want to talk to him. And they, and TikTok is all about money, 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 money. Man, it is like so commercialized. And they've got all these ways to set up, or all these people like, oh, they want to be all TikTok famous. They all want to make money off TikTok and shit. But TikTok is set up for TikTok to make a lot of money off the people. And the people to get real minimal. I don't know, it could be the same thing on YouTube. You know, I just know that at some point it will be monetized. I don't know what all that means. But, you know, and this has taken years of doing videos. But all these people want to jump on and then do silly videos. And then some people just take other people's content and stuff. You know, when I have some of these videos I've taken where, you know, it's like me taking their content. But the content I'm taking isn't from the people. It's going through this chain of public content at this point. But it's content that I want to share because it's stuff that I talk about. So it's things that I have been talking about. But I liked the one video of him talking about us being the universe, because I've seen other people talking about that, and I find it so interesting, because it's all of this manipulation of our perception and words and stuff, what we're always talking about. So I thought that video was really a good one. It's really short, and I did go in and look. Somebody requested the PDF, and that's why I went in and I was looking and searching, trying to put that video in, trying to find it, and I couldn't find the original. I was like, well, it could be off Instagram or Facebook. I don't know. There's a lot of content creators that go and use different ones, but then their stuff gets taken. I mean, I'm taking the Rocks videos, and they get away with this shit. But so on TikTok, when they go on and go live and shit, then people give them gifts. It's so crazy, because it's like Bitcoin or something. Like, you go on TikTok and you buy their money stuff, so how much ever they charge you for their coins, and then you use the coins to tip people or buy things or something. I don't know. And then TikTok shop, and then they've got all these different content creators pushing these different, it's gross. It's really gross. But anyways, I couldn't find that. But then when I saw the one of the woman talking with the coma, I was like, oh my gosh, she's saying stuff that I say all the time. I thought that was so cool how she was saying that she was a Christian even. And she was like, well, I want to talk to God about this. And see, when you think about your dead life, like, you got to see, like, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. When you think about yourself projecting, you think about yourself is always projecting. Like, you're always projecting. That's your existence, is your projection. It's what you're putting out there. That is who you are. And so you're always putting something out there. It's at different levels of consciousness, at different levels of frequency and stuff. So but you are in your homeostasis. You're in your home space. You're in your level. When you're outside of this being that you think is you, that you think is everything, when you're outside of it, you're more in your homeostasis kind of frequency. Like, you're at your like, when we're in this, we're in a lower frequency. So that's why, you know, everybody's uncomfortable and, you know, doesn't like it here, and, you know, why are people so mean and all that kind of stuff. It's because, you know, it's lower frequency. You know, we expect higher. But the whole thing is there's so much to learn. I just saw this girl, and this was something about weight too. But, you know, I mean, she wasn't making it about that. But, I mean, the chunky girl struggle is real. Like, you know, I mean, I don't have to be a chunky girl to understand the difficulty in their experience. Like, I can still relate on other things to that energy of what it is, this rejection and, you know, feeling so ugly and all of this stuff that, you know, insecurity, you know, that's a common thing that we feel for all different reasons. It's just we all give ourselves different reasons to feel it, but we can all heal those reasons. We don't have to stay in that space. We can improve our outlook on ourselves. And so, but there's so much to the whole thing, because she was very upset. She got up in the morning, was getting ready for work, and then checked her account. So she went through her whole thing to say why she had started back on the dating apps, and she wants to find her person. So, you know, she's got to put herself out there. So these are like misconceptions. Like, you've got to put yourself out there. Like, I mean, I'm putting myself out here, right? I mean, this is putting myself out there is how your person finds you, because you've got to be out there somewhere. So, but the dating sites play on this, you know, to me, you want to be out there and doing something that you love doing, because that is where you're going to find your match, doing stuff that you love to do, doing stuff that you're interested in. That is where you come into alignment. So not on a dating app. I mean, it's just like shopping but going to a paint class, you know, going to rock climbing class, you know, something you're interested in, something that you, you know, want to pursue in yourself. And always remember, you don't want to stay comfortable. That's what creates anxiety. You know, I need to be comfortable all the time. And then, so people just want to stay in their comfort zone. They don't want to push themselves. You don't know what you're made of unless you push yourself. You don't even know who you are unless you push yourself. You've always got to push yourself out of a state into discomfort. Always go a little bit further, a little bit further. Because as you do that and you build up confidence. You build up knowing who you are. If you just play it safe and stay back in the dark and never push yourself, how do you ever see who you are, what you're made of? Right now, the universe is giving everybody an opportunity to see what they're made of, pushing them hard and everything in their life to collapse so that they can see what they're made of. And it all has a micro macro. There's so much purpose, so much about everything going on. So, you know, always push yourself out of your comfort zone. Always push yourself a little bit further. Stretch yourself a little bit further on things that you care about, what you want. Stella, don't even. I can't see that good. I was like 323. At first I thought it was 333. There's always a 23. But I think it's 333. I just can't see very good. But just to go out there and start barking. Swear to God, and we live in a neighborhood, somebody will fucking shoot you. So, and that's one thing too. Okay, so let me finish that problem. Okay, I'll say this. And this too, don't go back to the girl. Because this too is an important thing. And so I get shown things all the time, but I'm not, you know, I mean, usually there's a reason why they show me that. Anyways, somebody's dog had gotten out, and my neighbors, you know, they've got those dogs, and they have a different attitude towards dogs. The whole family has a different attitude towards dogs than I do. So you know, I'm too much or too little, you know what I'm saying? This is where perception, especially a group perception, don't be influenced by that. Don't ever feel like you're too much or too little. Don't let that be your guide. You decide who you are. You decide what you're comfortable with, not somebody else. And so their little tiny dog got out and came into my yard, and it was a whole fucking thing. But they were all gone. And the dog must have snuck out, but he was like, I don't know what to say. People say mean things sometimes, and so, you know, to wish that they would have So, but that's what I'm saying. There's different attitudes. People have different attitudes, and there's a lot of shit coming up right now. Lots of shit coming up in regards to these relationships. What's going on with animals? Like, it's really disgusting. There's some things I can't even watch anymore. I just have to go past it. It's the abuse and stuff that animals are experiencing. Even sexual abuse. Like, it's just so absurd. It's so disgusting. I don't know how people just are so cut off from life and from other beings. It's like, oh my gosh. So, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Okay, so when the dog got out, and then I texted them and stuff, and so then they had to come back and catch the dog, and so I was helping them. And of course Stella is out there, who's got to be helping too. She had been out there, jeez, the dog. She was running around so much. I was crazy. She just takes off running. She just yanks the leash out of my hands and just takes off running all the time. It's like, okay, we're not going to be able to keep doing this neighborhood walking thing. She's just gotten so strong, but she still is whining, and there's still something about this heat and this panting, so I don't know what's going on. But I think I'm going to try and sneak some dandelion root in her food, though, today, and see like if it is something with their heart, and just give her some dandelion root. I don't know. But anyways, but when he caught him, then he was getting frustrated because Stella was really up in, Stella was still harassing. I kept telling Stella, come on, let's go get a treat and stuff like that. But see, I am not aggressive or angry or, I have a certain way I treat Stella. And it is not in a way that other people think. Because other people think, well, you should have better control. You should do this. You should. See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people can think you should, based on how they would do it. So then that's why you don't want to just do something, because they would do it. So do you want to be somebody who is like that? So you need to not be, insecurely trying to please others. You've got to be like, man, I don't care. Somebody can think, like I let her control me or whatever. I'm not going to worry about that. It's not my problem. It's like, you've got to consider you're the pole, and everything else is the other pole. You're always figuring yourself out. You're not just going and jumping on their pole and being like, okay, let's just live life from your pole, because I don't want to live like that. I don't want to be angry, and I don't want to be aggressive, and I don't want to, there's things I want to be, and there's things other people want to be. And we all get to decide who we want to be. But just keep that in mind, when you are trying to people please and, not be too much or too little. Always be, there's a maneuvering, and it is like you are your pole, which you're always keeping in balance, and every other thing is the pole for you to determine. It's the counterpoint for you to see yourself. Everything is an opportunity for you to see yourself. And yeah, I like what I see. Like, I feel good. I'm happy. I don't care if somebody thinks like, Stella's walking me, or I should have better control or whatever. I don't care. I mean, I know her, and I know, what I'm saying? So anyways, that was just a sidebar. So on this thing, so this girl, so she was really upset, and she was saying something else. She was trying to do something, so she went back on, and she started back on the dating site, because she's got to put herself out there to find her person. And so she started it the night before, and she went on. She saw three people that she's whatever, I think she swiped right or whatever on 3 people, and one of them was a match. So she was so excited because she really was like, oh, I really like him. Right there, they start investing in something that they don't know. Based on what? The ingredients? Like, what do you like? And so, and believe me, like, I definitely, when I even was on those fucking long ass time ago, yeah, people start liking, like, they're invested immediately. It's like, this is not where you want to invest your energy. And so she, when she got up, she had no matches. So I didn't even know this was a thing. But apparently people go on and just swipe every single person. And then whoever matches them, whoever likes them, then they go in and decide, nah. And so she was devastated. Like, I didn't even know this was a thing on there. Like, it makes sense. Yeah, I can imagine, because you're dealing with all insecure people. So it makes a lot of sense. That person probably, is way too vulnerable. They've got to just, have the person like them before that they can decide who they like. So, totally makes sense. Like, you're going to see the most dysfunctional things and the most dysfunctional people, and it's all coming to the surface. And all these insecurities and shit. So anyways, she was devastated, and she was, crying, and, she keeps trying. She just wants to give up, and how mean and horrible of a thing to do to somebody. And to me, it's just like, a lot of the girls who get in that, like, a victim mentality. See, it's more than just being chunky. That's the thing, is they think it's all about their weight, but it's about their mentality. It's about how they look at things. It's about this victim. It's about poor me. I'm not good enough. If somebody please accept me. Like, it's their way they look at themselves is the pushback. But they don't want to go into that and look how they look at themselves. They just want to keep seeing themselves through other people, just like what that little girl was saying. And so, but she was, because there's all these different levels of it. And so one of it can be just to physically see, what do I look like? Like, if I'm, and I always used to think that. I always, like if there was somebody on a movie or something, I'd be like, is that my size? Is that like what I would look like walking through the room? Like, I was always trying to figure out, like, my own self. Like I said, it's very confusing to be inside of a body, because there is no set thing. You don't know. It is like open space. It isn't, your perception of self isn't, it's a learning, it's an expansion, it's a growing. It is, and you have to, pursue it. You have to be interested in it. But anyways, so a lot of those girls, who are chunky, are just insecure. They feel bad about themselves. They just want to be accepted and be sweet as can be people. But they also can be big people pleasers. They can be big game players. And those kinds of games, although you're playing for your own insecurities to protect yourself, you can't be vulnerable to all these different things. That is why you have to heal the things, so you don't play the games. Because it's the unhealed version of yourself is what is repelling the partner that you're seeking. And so it is, you have got to learn to love yourself. You've got to learn to become your best self. That's what I'm saying. When you are, pursuant of your partner, you don't go on to a dating website. You don't go down to the grocery store. You go and start doing things you love to do. You start learning and growing and, becoming you. And then your paths will cross, And you'll find this guy every time you go to the cooking class, that same guy. You're Your times just end up crossing paths yesterday. Oh my God. The timing, oh, it was hellacious. It was hellacious on our walk. I couldn't believe it. We can go out there and not cross paths with anybody, and then yesterday it was like every fucking few steps, I swear to God. It was like, what in the hell synchronization is going on here? Like, oh, God, I need to get back to my space. Fly back into my bed. So, anyways, so it's not the girl's size and stuff. That's the thing, that they will repel themselves. They don't like themselves. That's why I have said so many times, so many things about putting on weight is a protective barrier. So they have put this barrier up to protect themselves, but then they don't like themselves. They need, it is this, it is like, you've got to become vulnerable. It's like that same thing when I'm talking about. You've got to push yourself a little bit. That conversation was with the girl who was talking about anxiety or something, as I had, with all this information coming out about the same shit that I fucking been talking about, you know, when you're crossing the blood-brain barrier with this stuff and receptor side, all this stuff. And so the medications, what people take for attention deficit, anxiety, depression, all of the disorders, bipolar, schizophrenia, fuck, there's no telling. You probably have fucking new diagnoses and everything. They just can't stop themselves. It's micromanage somebody's mind. Just like break it apart and tell them this is broken, oh, shouldn't do that, I've got a pill for it, don't worry. So but the importance of anxiety is the overcoming it. That is development, that is growth. You don't want to just fucking it's underdeveloped. If you just go and take a pill so you don't have to feel it, then that part is going to keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. The same way as like an alcoholic who starts drinking when they're 16 and they stop drinking when they're 50, they go back to being like 16. Their maturity has not ever gone further because they didn't ever push themselves. They never developed. They just distracted. They just hid. So they didn't ever face anything. You got to face things to mature, to grow, to expand. And that was weird. I got so many fucking weird noises and so many fucking weird things, people walking around. Like, it just gets weirder and weirder. It just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. Like, ugh. Sometimes I goddamn feel like I'm losing my mind. But then I think, okay, that's that fucking energy. That's that, whatever they're doing. They want us to make us feel like we're losing our minds. They want us to feel weird and itchy and tingle. They want us to feel all this stuff. I think it's something with this last battle on us or something. I don't know. Something's going to give. Something's going to blow. You watch. Anyways, where was I? Was I talking about the girl? Because I wanted to talk about the coma lady too. The girl. So if but the big thing is, it's like, so this girl is being broken by this guy she's never even met, you know, and being victim to him because of his insecurities. So now she's fallen victim, and then she probably, you know, the guy was probably better than what she thought she could get. That was probably one of the biggest hurtful things. She saw the guy and she was like, oh my gosh, you know, he's way better than, you know what I'm saying? She just probably has lowered her standards a lot. And so he was above what she thought she, you know, could get. And then when he rejected her, it just knocked her way back, where she thought she was stepping out. But see, that person shouldn't hold that. over you. Like, one insecure person can't recognize another insecure person. Like, her insecurities override his insecurities. So she's not even fucking thinking about, like, oh my gosh, this guy's so luckily I dodged a bullet on that. This game player guy, like, I don't want anything to do with that. Instead, it's all about the rejection and poor me, and I just keep trying, I keep putting myself out there. And they oftentimes feel so trapped in their own body, but that's like trapped in life. It's like that is what I'm saying. It's like this energy they're putting out. And so in the pushing themselves a little bit. And it doesn't have to do about weight, but a lot of times weight can make all the difference in how somebody sees themselves. You know, they see themselves as out of control. And then if anybody else notices, then they get very upset. There's a lot of guys that think that, and they all have their own view of, you know, this size of girl or this size of girl, whatever, in their perspective, you know, just like the dog, you know, where they think, oh, she doesn't eat, she doesn't eat right, she doesn't exercise right, she doesn't eat right, she doesn't exercise right. Like, their barometer is their own. So there's not like an overall. There's like, everybody's got their own. Like, a guy could go out with a girl who, I don't know, they've all got different body shapes, but different body types. It doesn't have to do with that. It has to do with how the person feels about themselves. But in this dysfunctional part, there's definitely, you know, like I say, I hear these guys saying all the time, there's certain girls that they go up a certain size and they're just like, well, you know, I like your personality, but you don't seem to really care about yourself or take good care of yourself. So that is, everybody's got their own gauge on that. And so, and it all comes from within. Each person, you shouldn't be basing how you feel on somebody else's within. You have to figure in your within. So, but the biggest thing is the confidence. And so the healing thing. So like I had said about that one girl who was talking about, she went from a size 16 to a size 6, and it didn't improve her life. And she saw that she still had the same problems. So see, that just changing your size is not going to make the difference. It's changing the problem. It's changing your outlook. It's changing how you feel about yourself. And it could have to do with your weight, and it could not. And, but oftentimes, a lot of people who struggle with themselves, they put on weight to protect themselves. If you get what I'm saying, you see how it all kind of goes together. It doesn't mean one means the other, but oftentimes somebody uses that as their protection device. So a girl could be, you know, completely her perfect weight, you know, because not all girls are supposed to be small and skinny. We have all different shapes and sizes of people. Nobody's supposed to all be the same. But we're supposed to all learn how to feel good in our bodies. And and some of the biggest girls are just so fucking cool looking. Like, they're just fucking cool as shit looking. Like the girl on Game of Thrones. Like, that giant girl, she's cool as shit looking. You know, but she could feel giant. You know, it all depends on the people and how they perceive and how they feel in their world, in their space, and the people around them and how they feel about themselves. So, anyways, so if the person just begins their healing, begins to try and work on their view of themselves, like, and you know, it's so hard to know where to start from for so many people. There's so many people that just seem so lost. There's so many people, man, I could get where, you know, like if I just had an hour to talk to them, if I could just talk to them, I could help them so much. I see all these people saying this stuff, and it's like, fuck. You know, all I can do is go out here and talk about the stuff generally, and I hope that the people who need to hear it find it and it helps them, because I can hear the messages out there. I can hear what people struggle with. And so when you're just low on your self-esteem, for one thing, you gotta push yourself a little bit. Like the girl was talking about with her anxiety, how she was becoming agoraphobic. Well, I had a daughter where that happened. And I knew as a kid what my anxiety would be. You know, like, oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. My mom would push me. There was no fucking way. I don't care. You're going to call. You're going to do it. And I'd be like, oh, I was like, oh, I was always pushed by my parents, you know. But, you know, that helped me be able to learn to push myself. Or I was always just somebody who was always going that way anyways. You know, all their little nudges was just, you know, I chose them as my parents because they were always going to keep me going. I don't know. But I did learn about it. So when you feel anxious, you got to push yourself. You don't just go backwards and go with the anxiety. You push yourself past. You know, okay, well, this makes me feel nervous, but if I just do it, then I won't feel nervous anymore. So I'll just do it. And then once you do it, you gain confidence. You're like, oh my gosh, I overcame that. Okay, I did that. It made me nervous. I got scared. I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyways. And now, fuck, I can do things that scare me. And you just keep building on that. There'll be another thing will happen, another conversation, another interaction, another thing that will make you feel insecure, that make you feel like you don't want to do it, give you anxiety. And then once you do it, and you push yourself past it, and you see yourself through those eyes, see that you can do things that you didn't think you could do, you can have conversations you didn't think you could have, all of those things that build you. So you are building yourself rather than sitting back and being like, no, I'm way too scared, I can't do it. And so then the people who go take these pills, which the pills just kind of, I don't know, zone you out or something so you don't feel. But whatever it's doing, it's causing more problems in there. But things with receptor sites and shit. And so whatever it's doing, now what the studies are coming out, that it is causing, you know, Alzheimer's, well, it's causing dementia, it's causing problems in people's minds. People are losing their, you know, we've got 40-year-olds that have got dementia now. And so, and it probably has to do a lot with heavy metals and the chemicals, the frequent, like there's so many factors. But those medications are meant to destroy your mind. You know, I mean, it was so crazy too. Yesterday I put on some movie. It kept popping up and popping up and popping up. And I kept, you know, just bypassing it. I wasn't putting it on. And so then I finally put it on. I can't remember what it was called, but I had Elizabeth Taylor, Katharine Hepburn. I was trying to think of the guy's name. But anyways, so it was about lobotomies or something. And I don't even know what the whole thing was about because I didn't watch it all. But as soon as I started watching, it was like, oh my God. Fucking hell. It was not that long ago. They just, Katharine Hepburn was in this movie, Elizabeth Taylor. And so, you know, this isn't fucking 200 years ago. This was a fucking, you know, I mean, Katharine Hepburn's kind of old. I haven't even seen Elizabeth Taylor yet in the movie. But, so they're doing lobotomies. And it's a new thing, and they're trying to figure it out. And this rich woman, she wants to have this doctor come do one on her son because, I don't know, he's a little too artsy, a little too out there. See, that's what they used to do. Like, I would have been, you know, 20 years before, they can send you to, you know, because I'm a wild child, and be like, catch her and send her down to the asylum. She's a crazy person. And they do lobotomies, and they still do electric shock treatment. But lobotomies, oh my gosh, just look up the fucking history on the lobotomies and asylums and all of that shit. And it just is more and more confirmation all the time. The asylums, the prisons and shit, those people were lab rats before they just started mainstream practicing on us all. They would take people from asylums, and because they see them as rejects, people who don't have all their faculties, people who can't manage their own mind, they see them as rejects, and so they practice on them, they do shit to them. And so all these fucking people who go around who, I can't manage my mind, I've got anxiety, I'm too scattered in my thoughts, I'm, you know, all the different things that people need to learn to manage their minds, instead of just being like, as soon as something starts going out of balance, you got to start seeing, like, why is it going out of balance? What am I doing? What's going on? You know, what's happening in my life? Like, you got to start managing yourself. But instead, they run to the doctor. Oh, you know, I can't sleep. I got scattered thoughts. I'm always, and then they give you these little fucking rando tests. They're so fucking vague. And then they, oh, well, you scored a 5. That means you're bipolar. Oh, you got a 6. You're schizophrenic. You know, it's like, oh my God. Well, the medication here, it says right here. So the medication for a 6, we got this medication, so we're going to start you on this one. We'll try this one. We've got 4 other options, but well, we can always double up. We can use this one and this one, but we'll start with this one and we'll give you a try, you know? And they're just fucking guessing. And then the outcome is dementia. You know, your fucking mind's getting broken while they're practicing on you, but they've always seen you as expendable. And these people think like they really care about your mind. They care about your mental health. Can you not see that in some countries that is enough to have you put to euthanasia? And if you are depressed, if you got anxiety, you got anorexia, you got the bipolar, you got the schizophrenia, well, you know, we better just put you out of your damn misery. You're a burden. You're a burden to society. You're a burden to the planet. Well, that's not how it works in soul world. So, soul world, you're an experiencer coming for an experience, to experience and understand yourself. So, it comes in all shapes, sizes, and forms. And we're just, you know, beginning stage 1 of learning to respect other life forms, other states of consciousness, other states of being, all of it. So, anyways, that, like, if you are, oh my gosh, hold on. She just slams into me and steps on my foot, just like, bah. See, she's not having a good, wait, it's the middle of the goddamn night. Well, now it's 4:03. So was it 3:33? I don't know. I'd have to go back and check the time. I'm not, or 3:23, I don't know. Somebody who's good with math to figure it out. But it's 4:03, I can see that clearly. It's probably no, it's still 4:03. So, if you are, you know, struggling, like if you are a heavy girl, you know, for one thing, it may be all about learning to accept yourself, to see yourself as having value, to be lovable, you know, and don't be thinking that everybody thinks you're fat. You are projecting that out into the world. You're how you see yourself. So then you think it's coming from other people, but it's coming from you. And because, you know, most people, I mean, if somebody's extremely obese, like most people would look and think like, well, they're obese. Well, that person can probably figure if you're bigger than most people are going to think you're obese. But when you're just, you know, heavy set in a world of heavy set people are not just looking at every single girl going, well, she's a big fatty. There's tons of girls like, it's just like when you watch the old movies, it's just so strange, especially, you know, how it wasn't even that long ago and how it went from this super skinny, small framed people into all of this weight being put on people. It makes me think there's a lot of small-framed people out there who have a lot of weight on, who are uncomfortable, like what I was talking about, who are very uncomfortable, and they don't even know why. They're just trying to eat right, and they try and exercise as much as they can, but they gotta work. They don't have time. They gotta get home and make dinner. They're starving by then, and most people don't eat right, and most people drink alcohol is a regular thing, and that will add on weight. Like 1 glass of wine a night will still add on like 20 pounds over a year. And so a lot of people don't want to carry that extra 20 pounds. And then once it's on and they've got their lifestyle chosen, then it's like, well, how do they make changes? And so this is all for everybody to come into, your own gauge. It's up to you. You have to figure that out. You have to figure out your comfort, your body, and everything. But you got to get off of the script, the controlled. I don't know how to call that, but like the food pyramid. Eat 3 times a day, especially when the food is the source of how they poison us. That's why I say you got to start understanding yourself as an energy being. And where you get energy. Like it's a misconception that we need to eat like that. That is not true. But it's so programmed into you that it's difficult to stop thinking that way. Your body will still react and everything. So it is, but it's each person, it's each individual to figure out for themselves, their own shape and size, and where they're comfortable. But the whole thing is about becoming comfortable, becoming where you like yourself. It doesn't matter, whatever. If you are larger and I think a lot of them think, well, I love myself, I've accepted myself. Yeah, well, there's just like that girl could be thinking, like she's put so much work into liking herself and putting herself out there. But you still, how you feel about yourself, you're giving it to other people. So you don't want it to be in someone else's hands, how you see yourself. And when you build yourself up, when you see what you're made of, when you do things and create yourself, then you don't see yourself through somebody else's eyes. You don't see yourself as a disappointment to somebody. You see yourself as a savior for yourself. And so you, it is the coming into, it's falling in love with yourself. And so when you fall in love with yourself, like there's somebody out there who loves you just the way you are, that they love you, but you had to learn to love you too. So once you learn to love you, then you can come into alignment. But it is like each person has to learn to love themselves and build themselves up. And it doesn't matter. Like the person who is your person, who's in that alignment, in that frequency with you, is going to love your body no matter what it is. They're not going to, because they're going to know you on a soul level. They're going to know you on a deeper level. They're going to feel you. They're going to understand you. Like it's a different experience. But people keep trying to bond and connect on this superficial level. Just like that one girl who I was talking about, a couple weeks ago when she's out on a date. And then she's like, well, is it totally wrong to, if you see your perfect guy across the restaurant and you're on a first date, is it wrong to want to go talk to the guy, or to go after your perfect guy or whatever? It's like, how do somebody look across a room and see somebody and think, oh, that's my perfect person, by what they look like? Like, where in our society, how does that make sense? Have they never gone out with, like, different people and seen, like, the looks don't match personalities? Like, you want to get to know the personality? And personalities, you know, in a world of dysfunction, we got all these people who won't even put the real personalities out there. They put on fake personas. And so, you know, I mean, to me, you want to get to your realist self. You want to, but it, you know, like, you got to thicken your skin. You can't sit here and cry every time somebody doesn't like you or doesn't approve of you or whatever. It's like, you know, that's their system. That's that's them trying to figure themselves out. It has nothing to do with me. Like, you know, but that takes a lot of healing. Like, I wasn't like that always. I was just like everybody else. I was just as dysfunctional, just as toxic, you know, as everybody else was. But I've learned this stuff, you know, learned it through healing myself and growing and talking with my guides through the whole thing. So it's a journey. It's a learning journey. So I gotta turn this down. I feel like I'm sinking down or something. I'm thinking that there was some other things I wanted to say too. There's so much more stuff keeps coming out with Hawaii. Oh my gosh, the Hawaii thing it's a huge part of because of the whole thing, how it's occupied territory, like how it wasn't even that long ago that they went in and just they've been fucking killing these people. Oh, it's just fucking sick, man. And how much we've just participated in, like, it's all coming together. All of this hidden history about, you know, the people coming over. Now I just see it so much about, like, these white aristocrat, like, people, these people that they made. The whole thing is that some of those people went out and we all started mixing up. People started mixing up. And see, they wanted to water it down to, you know, but it is like the people who are lacking the melanin are craving the culture. They're craving, so it went the other way than they wanted it to go. Like, if it would have gone the way that they wanted it to go, oh my God, it'd be fucking Planet of the Apes. Like, it would be these certain people on horseback in charge of, you know, it'd be all this, they're white, you know, they're droid people, they're robotic people would be all the ones in charge. Everybody else would just be caged animals. But it is like that already. It's just that we haven't realized we're cages because they made it a habitat. So but we all have to realize and see, you know. And yesterday they were burning down Oahu too. So I don't know. They're just going to keep attacking all the different islanders, all of the different tribes and stuff. It all has to do with all this stuff about our hidden truth, the truth about this planet and stuff, and in the takeover. And I think it all has to do with it. But somebody just said a really good thing too about, like, the Great Wall of China. They said, you know, they tell us that the Great Wall of China, the Chinese built it, you know, the history they tell us is completely false. Because the Great Wall of China is facing, like, the way it's facing, they were protecting themselves from China. It wasn't China protecting themselves. All of the stuff is facing, all of the outlooks and shit are facing, looking towards China. And so it was the Tartarian territory that was fighting against China. And there's so much more, like, when there's all these people who find these old pictures, you know, giants and stuff with the humans, and so many of them look like Bigfoot. That's what people don't understand, is, like, they're all just different vehicles. That's all they are, is different vehicles. The souls aren't different. The souls are just whole souls. all experiencers going in different experiences. And you know, when I was talking about with all of this weird stuff about how like they had the white people where I don't know how, to me it was kind of like they just were trying to remove stuff, remove things like what they do in this dog breeding shit. And so I think that they were trying to remove stuff out of the beings that were already here. I don't know. I mean, there's the whole thing with Histler and making these blonde-haired, blue-eyed, perfect beings or something. So it was this thing. And then they started putting him out into the world for this mass takeover or something. But when I had said before, it seems like there was like giants, or there was something with Ireland and Scotland. So this morning, and I shared this video because I thought, well, this is interesting, because I just had been talking about that. But in this being, or this giant, it looks like folklore, stories out of their folklore. But when you think of it as other beings inhabiting this space for their experience, then, you know, there's all different. There's things that we think of as monsters and giants and stuff. It's all different perspectives. It's all, and a lot of, remember, the physicality has to do with more than just what you look like. There's a whole reason for everything. Like, there's a reason our hair puts out fluid to protect itself. There's a reason, you know, for our eye. That's why they're damaging our eyes with these lights. It's like they're turning us into goddamn moles or something. They're destroying our eyes. They're destroying our brains. They're destroying our development. All these things to create these dependent beings, so then they can put this, like, these what are those things called? The implants that they want to put into us, you know, and that has to do with, well, you can be so smart, you can access the library, you can do the, you know, all these things. When you dumb down all of society, and they think the only way to be smart is to go get an implant so that they have access to knowledge. It's like, you don't need a fucking that. So anyways, but, you know, that's a part of their whole plan. But so these beings, I think these giants, these folklore giants or something, that were over around that area. And so I think that there's going to be more stuff that's going to come out of different beings that were in different areas and stuff. Because in the folklore, supposedly that those big creatures are still up in the mountains in Ireland. And in Afghanistan, we got giant, like, there's giants. I'm sure there's giants out in these mountains. I'm sure there's all sorts of shit. I'm sure there's shit that you could be standing next to, and you can't see it, but it can see you because of its frequency. I mean, we can't see into the other frequency, but they're stepping back so they can see into ours. So there's definitely things that you can't see that can see you. And I think dogs and cats and shit prove that all the time, because they're always seeing shit that we can't see. So, but let me think, because it seemed like there was something else I was going to say about that. The frequency. Well, anyways, so if you are feeling bad about yourself and you don't even know where to start, there's so many places to start. It's just like start. It's the same thing to me as, like, you know, my sister in her bedroom. I mean, now she's grown up, she has a whole house. I think it's her whole house. But when she was a little kid and all she had was a bedroom, and she could never clean up after herself. She couldn't never do it. And I try and tell her, like, there's other people who have talked to, you know, who think they can't clean up. And it's like they get overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to do. And so it's just start. Just start. Just do something. Take an action. Take a different action than you took yesterday. What is the primary things that you want to change? What are ways that you can change? What is the outlook? What is it you see? What is it the gain that you want? What is the outcome? So focus on what it is that you want. What do you want to see that changes? You know, maybe it is something with your body size. Maybe you do want to feel like you have better control, you know, and that is, you know, look at food differently. Just start looking at, you know, your energy. Just start looking at yourself differently, like as a car, you know, the tank and energy and how to use it and where we get it. And man, I'm telling you, like, even the other day when I made like Parmesan carrots, you know, I was like, oh, that'll be so good. I got these carrots to make this Parmesan carrot. And then it's like, the cheese tastes like wax. I made, the other day when I went to go get my stuff at the grocery store, and I had been getting dark chocolate and making my own chocolate chips. And so then this time there was no dark chocolate. It was only some like certain bars where I was like, that's like, these places probably worms in it and shit. I don't want that. And so, over on the baking aisle, I had to resort to the Nestle's and the Hershey's. So they had a Hershey's and a Nestle's. The Nestle's was espresso chips, which I don't drink coffee, but I thought, well, those might be good in a breakfast biscotti. And so then I got see, those were the Nestle's. The Hershey's were just chocolate chocolate chips, just chocolate chips. And so the other day, I grabbed a couple of them. I was doing something, I grabbed a couple to just eat just the chocolate chips. And I couldn't even eat it. It was literally like eating a crayon. I just spit it out. I was like, what in the holy hell? Because I had put them in my biscotti before, so I didn't know. And then I took a bite of them, and it was like, oh my God, this is like something like wax. This isn't even fucking real food. What the fucking hell? Like, has it ever been real food like we ate? I don't think it's ever been real food. I don't know. Because, I mean, real food doesn't even exist. Like, how can there be real food? It's all an illusion. So, but it's becoming so obvious that it's not real. Like, I couldn't believe it. So, and then when I made those Parmesan carrots, and I was like, oh my God, I've got a whole giant thing of them I made. It's like, it tastes like fucking trying to eat wax. It's like I'm eating waxy fruit. It's like that, And so that's why I keep making bread. Yesterday I made some focaccia bread, and it's kind of like making a pizza. So I was like, okay, well, I can just do that. I'll just add some more toppings. But now, you know, there was a whole period of time where I was all about the olive oil and Dr. Gundry and you know, the Mediterranean diet, and you got to eat so much olive oil. Well, and then you find out that they're fucking putting all this other seed oil in the fucking olive oil, because seed oil is so bad for us and it's fucking killing us. And so, you know, saturating everything with goddamn olive oil is just murder now too. It's like every motherfucking thing. And then if my body, like my stomach's in there growling like crazy. It's 424. My stomach's growling like crazy. It's like, I gotta eat something. And so I started a bread last night, and it rose this morning. I already kneaded it and did all that. And then I'm sure it's risen again. I think I'm gonna split it, and I think I might make some like cinnamon rolls or something. Then I may make it, because then last night when I was going to bed, I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna make a sushi bowl tomorrow. So I've got all these ingredients. I'm gonna make this shrimp sushi bowl, because I got shrimp. And even when I've gotten the salmon lately, it is mush. It's not fucking, it's no texture. It's just mush. So I'm sure there's gonna be some fucking weird shit with the shrimps too. All fucking manufactured plastic food. And so I make this sushi bowl, and fuck, Stella is getting a lot of food because I make this shit, and then it's like, it's not fucking real. I can't eat it. It tastes weird. It's weird textures. It has no, it's just, the whole thing is weird. So, but that is an important part of, you know, if you're not happy with your body, it's the reevaluation of food. Like, I thought, I was kind of surprised or something. Like, I don't know how I always go off on this other direction. When they start talking about shorting us with food and people start panicking and filling up goddamn storage units with food, it's like, why aren't you just going and looking at your perception of food? Why don't you change how you look at food? Why, by the way, this morning I was in there kneading my bread, you know, and this wind is going and stuff. I was like, oh, fuck, power go off again. And then we'll sit here and, you know, when the power's off, there's no lights, you have no idea what's going on, you can't access the internet, there's nothing. And then, you know, these wacky old neighbors, so it's just very isolating. And, but it's just like, whatever. So if, anyways, so when I was doing the bread this morning, I was thinking if it was going to go off, and then Dutch oven came into my mind, and I was like, oh, that is why Dutch oven. Ah, that is so smart. Yeah, I didn't think of that. I gotta get a Dutch oven, because you could put the bread in you could put the dough in the Dutch oven, and you could, well, the sun, I think you could put it out in a sunny place and it would cook it itself. But I think what the Dutch oven was kind of representing was because before, you know, we had ovens and shit, they would use clay pots, and then they could heat the ground and use the clay pot to cook the food by heating into the ground or something. I saw this on a thing recently, and it was like these tribes, I think it was in New Zealand or something, and it seemed like that this person went there to see what it was like, or to learn from these people or something. But it was like, what are those things called? You know, those, they're like in Yellowstone and stuff. And people go and soak in them. They're supposed to be like good for your skin. One of my daughters, she always has loved going to them. Sulfur pools, sulfur somethings, some kind of sulfur pool thing or something. But I think that's what it was, like in New Zealand. Like there was a whole area. It could have been Iceland. I don't know for sure. It was a while ago when I saw it. But they would, where the ground was hot, they could go put these clay pots in it and cook their food. So I think that is like what a Dutch oven was kind of copying. So when there's no power or anything, I think you could use a Dutch oven to cook. Well, I know you could use it over open fire if you had a cast iron one. But I think there's certain ones, like those ones that are super expensive. Like I got one and it was really expensive, and I thought it was gonna be big, and it's tiny. I think they're French, but there's certain ones that I bet you that you could put them out. I bet you that they were made to represent that. So you could find well, right now, just the sun alone could cook your food, I think. So, I mean, they're lasering the fuck out of us. Yesterday, too, when that thing came in, and as soon as it comes through and it starts coming in like lasering, if it hits even the side of my eyes, my eyes are fucked for the rest of the day. Like, I won't be able to see shit. And it keeps happening. And I noticed it the other morning, and that's where I said, like, that whole day, it was a weird, and my eyes were having this weird thing, and then I kept crying, and it was so strange. But yesterday when we went out and walked, and the sun machine thing was coming up, and I was like, there's no fucking way I'm looking over at it. And it just hit into the side, and it singed through like this. It's fucking like a light hit. I don't know how to explain it. My eyes are just super sensitive to it. I just feel like some people don't see it or something. but my eyes are so damaged from their shit that it affects them. And, you know, even this fucking plant light that I got to put around my thing, like by the end of the day, I can't even handle it. It just kills my eyes. I got to turn all the lights off all the time. Like, the LED lights are really fucked. I need to take all of mine out and go get all those other ones. And one of the only reasons is I haven't is the old-fashioned lights create so much heat. Like, that would be perfect for winter. Like, get them and put them on in the house. But right now, to try and change them so I can have more lights on, it's like all you do is heat up your house. So, and then plus by this winter, it can be completely different. Like, shit is going down. There is more and more stuff. I saw footage yesterday, too, of a whole shit ton of helicopters going. I don't even remember where that was. There's all sorts of stuff going on when they keep showing footage of different things. There's all sorts of earthquakes and volcanoes, and oh my God, there's so much shit going on. And it's all this energy. You can just feel it. It's like the popcorn when you're making the old-fashioned kind of popcorn, popping it, and you know, it's like starts out, you know, popping, but then it gets to a point where it's just pop, 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 pop. That's what it's like now. Like, this energy is just like, it's just popping off, and the popping off is going to turn things the other direction. Oh yeah, well, another thing too, I don't know if I already had said that, is the death total, how huge it is already. And they've only gone through 13% of the homes. But somebody made a really, really good point that keeps sharing, all these people keep sharing this footage and shit, but no car doors are open. None. All the cars that are on the road, everybody's doors are shut. So they're like, they just came in and zapped them. That's why I was saying, when I kept seeing it, it's like a quick, like, pop. And it's like the people are in one reality. They notice something's wrong, but immediately it's like a pop into this other reality. And they all do it once, but it seems like there's a holding pattern, like, for not everybody, because it seems like the ones that are like their whole family, like, they are already into another reality. Like, they went into another reality. But the ones who were separated, it's like that they are in a holding pattern. Like, it's like this coming back together. Everything is going to come back together. It is this transition that we're going through. It is this stuff that we have to learn. It's the expansion that has to happen. Life could not keep going the direction we were going. It had to have these huge things. And then plus people don't push themselves. People don't try. People give up too easy. People don't want to, they just want others to like them instead of learning how to like themselves. They just try and figure out how to get other people to like them. So all these things have to go. All these things have to change. You know, people have to go through this pain. She has to sit there and cry. She has to re-examine, why am I letting a stranger affect me like this? You know, why do I feel so undesirable? Why do I feel like nobody wants me? Why am I marketing myself in this way? Like, there's so many questions to ask yourself. There's so many answers. There's so many directions. But when you're trying to figure out, like, which direction to go, when you just start, you know, just, you pick a place and start, you know, and your self-esteem, you know, start questioning yourself. Why do I feel so bad about myself? Why do I see myself as so undesirable? What about me what needs to change? Because you have the power to change whatever the hell you want to change. It's the it's the looking at yourself. It's the examining yourself. It's going deeper into yourself. That's the hard part. That's the part what nobody wants to do. Yeah, everybody wants the finished product, but they don't want to do the work to get there. But you need to do the work. The work is what's important. The work is what matters. The work is what gives you the expansion, the growth, the development. It's, it's not work. It is expansion. It is, learning to love yourself shouldn't be work. To re-examine the reasons why you hate yourself shouldn't be work. It is, it's challenging, but it's challenging because of the distortion of how we see things. So when you start, telling yourself to look at things differently, start giving yourself different perspective, different ways of seeing things, opening your mind, opening it, and not staying small, and not staying so structured, let yourself fall apart, and then you put yourself back together and leave the parts out of that you don't want. It's okay to fall apart. That's what you need to do, is fall apart so that you can see all of the things, so you can see all your parts. And then, go in and start understanding, no matter what it is. It may be, you could be a bald guy, a guy who has no hair at an early age. It could be a guy who has a small penis. Like, it could be so many things. It doesn't just have to be a girl who's overweight, or a girl who has giant boobs, or a girl who has, all the people have, everybody has things that they feel insecure about. Everybody has things that they feel undesirable about. Everybody has things that they feel rejected about. But then also, your rejection comes from people who are meant to reject you. Like, you're not supposed to go out and have all of these great relationships with every person. You're supposed to be learning about yourself, moving you towards an exceptional relationship. Once you become your truth, once you become, you're the self that you want to be, once you're putting the true you out there, then, that is where you want to find another, another person at that vibration, at that, your truth, your, and it's hard to explain. I just feel like some of this stuff will be so much easier to explain once, once I'm on that side of it. It's one thing to talk about it when you haven't gotten to the other thing. Then everybody's like, okay, yeah, whatever. Once there's the other part and you pull the person in, then, then you can explain it better so people can understand it better and see. But it all has to do with you healing. Not when you're going out and shopping around, you're shopping to expand yourself. You're just going out to be triggered. You're going out to grow, to learn about yourself. In so many cases, it's the people will not love you and will not like you you want to be loved or liked. You're not going to be treated the way you want to be treated, because that is the part that you're learning. You're learning the bad part. So you're going out and trying to make relationships with people who are there to teach you boundaries, to teach you to love yourself. And so those relationships are going to be hard. They're going to be difficult. You're going to feel beat down. You're going to feel disappointed, because that's what it's all about. It's you growing. And so those relationships were never your one and only. Those were all beautiful souls that came in to help you learn and grow for yourself. But that there's still, a person for you that is in alignment for you. But when you are in the, not your best, you want to be, when you're aligning in frequency, you're not your best, and you're aligning with people who aren't their best. But you have to go through all of those stages so you can find your best. You can grow, you can heal, you can, claim yourself, own yourself, all of the whole thing, so that you can get yourself to feeling good about yourself. Then you come into alignment with your person. then you are on a different, it's a different experience. You get to go in and experience life from a different, where it was you were having the negative things show you, now you have the positive things. So it's getting the other side. So there's still things, you're always going to be learning about yourself. You're always going to be learning and growing and expanding, but you get the other side of it. So when you're trying to, force relationships, you get one side. When you allow and you just put yourself out there and allow them to come to you, then it's the other side. So everything has got these different sides you can experience. There's the dark and there's the light. And so it is you having to maneuver the dark and the light, maneuver through all of these energies to discover who you are. It is the story of the fool. It is the story of Pinocchio. It's our hero's journey. That has been our the template for this age. But now we're moving into this new age, like I keep saying, where it's a new template. It's where the template is going to be about love and forgiveness. And if you're not there with people, then you need to be working on it. Because how can you be in a space that's about love and forgiveness if you're not there in your own heart and soul? So you have to work on your love and forgiveness. And you have to learn to love and forgive yourself. That's key. And so through the experience, when you're trying to figure out where to start, there's so many places to start. Maybe you need to start with your mom, resentment and anger and, towards the first person who disappointed you. Maybe it's with your dad, the first person who rejected you. It can be so many different places to start, but just go in and try and get to the bottom of why you feel bad about yourself. Feeling bad about yourself is an illusion, but it is the illusion that you have to dig through to uncover, to unbury. It is the letting it all out. And so just wherever it is you start, just find a place and then just start there and put effort into it, put time into it. And, maybe it's all about reflection, and you got to take time. That is one thing that is an overall thing that I see all the time, is so many people don't have time. They don't take the time. They don't put the time into themselves. You got to put time into reflection, whether you want to call it meditation or walking in the park or sitting in nature, whatever it is, a time of reflection. It's a time without interference of anyone else's intrusion into your mind space, so that you can reevaluate, look at things in a deeper way. And this chronic reevaluation, this reflection time will help you grow no matter what, but you got to take the time. You got to take the time to yourself. And then the development of, the true counselor is within you. So to develop that relationship with your true counselor, the one who is your trust fall, the one who's expressing themselves to become you, that is the gaining the trust of that the universe, your higher self, whatever you want to perceive it as to be, but to gain that relationship and trust and direction. So when you're in times of reflection, that you understand you're really in a conversation, like Grasshopper. Oh, if you don't know about Grasshopper, it was a show when I was a kid called Kung Fu. I had David Carradine, and he was like a hybrid, and was left with these monks or something, and them teaching him, and they would call him Grasshopper. So when he would ask questions, there would always be a grasshopper Anyways, that's how I remember it. Maybe I'm remembering off, and with all these Mandela effects, who fucking knows? But anyways, I remember that as a show. And so, anyways, and I think even in Karate Kid, does Mr. Magagi or something, does he call him Grasshopper? I'm pretty sure it was just out of, I think that show was called Kung Fu. I can't remember though, but it seems like it was called Kung Fu. But that guy would always be like, Grasshopper. But anyways, that is what it is like if you get into this space of reflection with your higher selves, your guides, you know, the beings that are trying to walk you through the game. When you sit in times of reflection and you participate in the conversation, you listen, and yours may not start out that way. You may sit out, you know, in reflection, and it may be a ton of noise. It may take you a long while to get to where you've quieted the mind. But whatever the noise is, focus on the noise. Whoever's yelling the loudest, go in and start, you know, trying to hear it, trying to question, trying to understand your thoughts. You know, go in and start trying to question yourself, question your thoughts. Where'd that come from? Why do I think that? Where's that? You know, just go through, and, you know, I may be, you sit there for 20 minutes by a river, and the whole time you're just trying to recognize and understand your thoughts. That is still, the next time you go, you will have a deeper understanding. And the next time, and the next time, and the next time, you build on it. Don't give up on something. You always build up on it. And always push yourself. Remember to keep pushing yourself past your comfort zone. Don't ever get too comfortable. Just, you know, it's like a student who's super smart in school but just does the bare minimum. You know, people kind of just, you know, do the bare minimum to stay safe. And don't. Push yourself a little further every day. Push yourself a little further. Push yourself past your comfort zone. Do something that makes you uncomfortable every day. And pretty soon, there's a lot of things that won't make you uncomfortable. You won't have anxiety. You won't feel worried and stressed. You won't worry about every little thing because you keep pushing past that little worry, that little receptor site. You push past it. You don't fill it up with your anxiety. You don't fill it up with pills and shit. So it's all about learning to manage the mind, learning to manage yourself. So no matter what your thing is, if, you know, whatever your insecurities are, just go in and start questioning them. Like, insecurities come from pain, come from trauma. And so, you know, it's up to you to save yourself. You're the savior for you. It's a big job, but it's up to you to do it. And there's so many people, you know, who just sit back waiting for a savior to come in and fix it all. It's like, that's a distraction. That is something that's going to leave you stagnant, leave you underdeveloped. This is a time of development. This is a time where you want to be working on yourself. You want to be facing yourself. You want to be expanding yourself, because where we're going is all about that. It's all about just keep on thinking of what's your destination. Maybe your destination's not love and light. Maybe it's not all about the age of Aquarius. Maybe it's not about becoming in love with yourself and loving life. You know, maybe you have got other things that you need to work on. And that's what you need to follow. You know, you need to follow your own guidance. You need to follow what goes on inside of here. Somebody asked me yesterday, because I had said something about, you know, it's us, you know, we're the ones keeping the system going. When people keep being like, oh, well, you know, why does it keep going? God, why didn't things fall apart? It's because we keep it going. People keep going to work. People keep going and buying shit. People is the people who keep it going. And especially even with our financial, you know, it's worthless, but people keep on going, keep on keeping it going. And so in the video, this girl, she said a whole bunch of things, but one of the things, well, well, what are we supposed to do? And that could have been two different girls. Like, I could be getting two mixed up, because one was like, well, what are we supposed to do? And to me, it's like, that's something you got to ask yourself. You've got to ask yourself. You got to ask your higher self. I can't tell you what to do. There's way too many variables. I don't know what your lessons are. I don't know what you're here to learn. Yeah, I just know that, I mean, some people could be, I love my job, because one girl was, oh, I love my job, and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, the jobs are all going. Like, it's all going to fall apart, The people who are sitting there putting all their time and energy into something that's about to fall apart. And so the people who are doing that, love their job or whatever, then maybe their whole thing is going to be about this reevaluation of time and what they love and priorities and stuff, because that seems to be the common thread. And so, and another common thread is, if you are holding yourself back out of fear, well, we can't do that. Oh, everything will go wrong. Well, then you're not trusting the universe. You're not trusting your higher self. You're not trusting that there's anybody there to catch you. You think you're in charge. You think you've got it all handled. So you've got lessons. There's things for you to learn. There's all different lessons, twins. There's all different lessons. You can't tell somebody what to do and how to do it. They have to figure it out for themselves, because it's their consequences. It's their lessons. It's all their stuff. And some of them are about, priorities. Some are, they're all different things. And so, there's nothing that I can say to somebody that can give you, everything is inside of you. If you're confused over what you're supposed to be doing or any of that stuff, that is up to you to go and sit with yourself and ask yourself, what am I supposed to be doing? But I'll guarantee you, the whole fucking system's going down. All these jobs and shit that people are sitting here, spending time, going to jobs, getting their money and all, it's all going away. It's all going. It's not going to be there. We're going to develop other kinds of jobs for a different kind of society. It's not going to be the same type of society. The society is falling apart. So it's going to be different kinds of jobs. That's why it's important to develop your skills, to become independent in your financing, Be somebody who has something to trade. Be somebody who has something to barter with. And, don't be caught up in their system. Don't be going and buying TikTok bucks so you can, it's all supporting TikTok. So it's you begin to support you by developing your skills and stuff. That's a part of the whole thing. But everybody's got their own lessons. But the job thing is going to fall apart. The jobs are changing. We have all this stuff coming to the surface, telling us the AI is taking this job, AI is taking this job. Like, AI now is writing bestsellers, 2 days after an event happens. The AI's already put the book out and got it published. It's already going. It's already printed and out there. And, and just like all these Hollywood people who are out there saying they're just taking our image now. They don't even need us. All they wanted was the followers. They just wanted the persona. And then they just steal the, put it in AI and create the person that they want, who does what they want. But they had to have the person, the idol, create the following. So then they robbed the idol of their own following. So the whole AI thing, it just keeps coming out all over. Everything in our society is purging it out, showing us the direction we were headed, what's going on, what we've allowed. And so it's all this good hard look at where we're going, where we've been, what part did we play, what did we do, how did we participate, what parts did we do to bring us into this place. Most people, the parts they play was just being in oblivion, being in the land of oblivion, just playing the part of the social lab rat, playing the part of the socialized lab rat slave. We're just focused on where you got to go, what you got to get done, and just oblivious to what's happening to other people. And You know, and then when you start waking up and you start seeing, like, fuck, they're just fucking occupying territory, murdering, mass murdering, like, oh my Lord, it's fucking mental. So it's a harsh world to wake up to, but it's important to see the world that you exist in and what you participate, what you're putting your energy into, you know, where does it go? And it's time to start claiming your energy as your own and start putting it into you. And so anyways, all of these jobs, all of this whole thing is going to fall apart. The money, all of it. But it's all for the better, all for change. It's all for this new world that is going to surface out of this old one. You know, just like all the discussions of rebuilding Lahana and it's crazy how, like, the government's going in, like, they're evicting people. They're just trying to kick people off their land and sit there and say, oh, the land's toxic now. Fuck you. You're gonna fucking tell me shit. These people need to come together. I'm telling you, all of them standing arm in arm and pushing back, telling FEMA, telling Red Cross, telling all those motherfuckers, get the fuck off. Back off. Get the fuck out of here. This is our land. This is our ancestral land. You have no business here. Whatever treaties and fucking malfunction bullshit that they've ever done to take any of the land away from these people, they've got to put a stop to it. They're like taking every single thing and just kicking them out and killing them off. It's sickening. And but this is all about, yeah, everybody coming together and in sovereignty, knowing your power, all of these things. These are the things that we're learning and growing and expanding. So don't get yourself into this position of, you know, having to check if somebody swiped right or left on you or whatever the fuck. Don't put your self-esteem in someone else's hands. Don't get caught up in thinking that you got to be going and putting yourself out there and dating to find your person. No, your person will find you. Just start doing the things you love to do. Start putting your energy into you. Start developing yourself and finding your true self. And then they will find you. And you will develop and you will learn to love yourself. And you will see that you have got so much more to you than you ever knew. And so, you know, is all of this, you know, and I don't know if every person who's sitting there so beat down, if they're going to be able to, or if they're going to just, you know, rapture out. They're going to just, you know, the vibration is too intense. The journey is too hard. The desert is too hot. And, you know, it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of strange work. Like, there's a lot of having to try and understand something that is not understandable. So it's very much, you know, it's a strange world to go from the existence of thinking you're a human and then to go into realizing that you're a spirit. You're just a spirit here to try and experience what would life be like if I was a human. But we are what makes a human. So it's all, there's a whole bunch of stuff in there to try and untwist your mind around. So, but spend times in reflection, spend times alone, spend time by yourself, and spend time in communication with yourself. And you will begin to understand yourself, and you will find peace in yourself. You won't have to have every question answered. You'll just understand, and you'll feel good. And so, you know, this is the time. You know, no matter how much of this shit is popping off, no matter, you know, how many things are going down, just keep working on, you know, yourself and how you see things. And, you know, I mean, it's sad to see all these people who are just falling apart. And it's like, it's all in how you're looking at things. It's just all in how you see things. Just change how you look at things. Change how you see things, and everything changes. So, anyways, that's what I have to offer. That's what I got for. I think that there's some more things that I'm forgetting about. So who knows? Maybe I will motivate myself to come on and do another one later, because it does just get way too filled up in there with way too much stuff. And I feel like there's more, but I don't know. I'm tired. I'm gonna go and make another cup of tea. What is it? It's 5 o'clock now. So I'll start this download. Yesterday it went really quick. So I don't know. I'll start it downloading and see. Some days it can take 8 hours and some days it can take 3. You just never know. But one thing I have noticed is if I am in town, my Wi-Fi just sucks. So I think it has to do with that too. It may not just be YouTube and stuff. It may just have so much to do with my Wi-Fi not being strong enough that it's just so slow. So anyways, I'll get to it and you get to it and have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.